started this inquiry last year, I had no idea what it was all about. All I knew that it was a way for me, hopefully, to improve my practice. It was very different from any of the training courses that I'd been on before, many of which aren't work. And I attended one, for example, which I won't name, and we had the initial icebreaker, we had some background information, and we did some hands-on stuff, which was fine. And then after lunch, we sat for hours watching slide after slide of different settings and how they'd implemented this training. And quite frankly, I was bored to death and I felt patronised. You know, I'm a grown woman, I didn't need to sit through hours of photographs to get the point. This training was really different from that. It was kind of the opposite, really. It talked about us as practitioners being the experts and having a wealth of knowledge and information. And I've never really looked at myself or my colleagues in this way before. I think childcare's always been on the bottom rung of the ladder. You know, we don't get the same respect or anywhere near the same pay as teachers, for example, and yet we do a job that's equally as important. I've been working in this profession for 9 years. I've worked in full day care nursery, creches all over the city. I've worked in after school, breakfast club, holiday place schemes, play groups. And yet for all this year's experience, all my qualifications, I earn just 95 pence an hour more than my 21-year-old son, who works for a very famous American burger chain. And suffice to say, I'm not loving it. You know, when you work in a profession that is undervalued, you do start to undervalue yourself. And early on in the inquiry, I did want to pull out. I didn't feel that I had anything worth contributing. But Joan and Janice came to see me and talked me round, and I did agree to stick with it. Joan asked me to think about my values and what motivated me and why I did the job that I do. And I remembered a teacher I'd had in my first year of secondary school who taught me to dive. I wasn't a strong swimmer. In fact, I'd only just learned to swim in the summer holidays, and I avoided going swimming with friends because I wasn't confident in the water. And the thought of diving terrified me. But I can still see my teacher patiently sitting at the side of me on the pool, trying to coax me in. At first, I hoped she'd just give up on me, but she didn't, a bit like Joan. And she seemed to spend an awful lot of time just with me. I think all the others had mastered diving by then. And we'd start off at the sitting position at the shallow end, and we'd gradually move further up along the side of the pool. And I don't know, it seemed to be, she instinctively knew when to push me and when to back off, but at the end I could dive perfectly in the deep end. And I've never forgotten the huge sense of achievement I felt on that day. And I realise now what a fantastic, dedicated teacher she was. I think, you know, she was one of the influences that brought me to this point. I think everyone needs to remember one of these experiences, good or bad, to really understand the impact it can have on a child and how one person can make a difference. I think everybody needs to remember one of these experiences, good or bad, to really understand, you know, what a difference it can make to a child's life. One person can make a difference. I think that was the turning point for me then. I think that's when I really understood, you know, that the moment by moment stuff is so important. Sorry, I just can't do this.
You've actually done it.
What's the bit
you're
trying to I want to say about, I keep saying that that's the bit that's important, that I'm more aware now. Okay. That's what I'll take away from this, that every moment does count. I'm much more aware now that every word and every action can make such a huge difference to a child's confidence and self-esteem. Joan then asked me to write something up about what I do in my setting on a day-to-day basis, and somehow it turned into a poem, and it got lots of positive praise, you know, lots of good feedback, and it was published in a childcare journal, and it was just really nice to think that someone had valued my opinions. This is the bit I do get stuff on as well. By taking part in this inquiry, I feel like my confidence has really improved, and hopefully that'll help me back at the settlement, and it will help in my practice. It's been great working with a range of practitioners from all over the city and to share our knowledge and our experiences and, yes, our expertise. I suppose all I can do now is try and make my setting a safe, happy, nurturing place for all the children who attend. I've become very passionate now about encouraging other staff and promoting the importance of being, in the moment and working on a moment-to-moment basis. Encouraging them, that how they are in the present time is really important, and it can make such a difference to a child. Every moment does count. I feel ashamed to say that I've never dived as an adult. I'm still not a great swimmer, and I still avoid swimming just as I did when I was a child. But the important point is that I can, because of that teacher, because of the care and the patience she showed to me. I can, if I need to, it's there, and that's what really matters in the end, that I can.
Great.